when you look at, you're sitting here at 8-0, what you want is for them to finish right. And I don't think you can compare them to this point. And this team hasn't had but one close game. Really, the 2005 team had one close game, and that was at Ohio State. It was on the road. Other than that, we've been in pretty good shape every week. But the 2005 team finished well. You know, I was thinking about that team the other day when we were at Stillwater. That team was down 28-9 in Stillwater to a 4-7 team, and made it 28-12 at halftime, and came back and blew it open 47-28 the second half. But so far this team hasn't done that, and that's why this team has learned from some of the things over the last few years that we've had. We did not play well at Central Florida in 07. And it's important that we continue to play well. And the message from the players was that way last night when I asked them, who are we, where are we going, what are we doing, and each one of them said, we got to keep playing. You know, you look around every Saturday and there's somebody that's really disappointed that they decided it was going to be okay and they weren't going to have to play very hard, and all of a sudden they lose their dreams. And what we've got is a goal to win the Big 12 South, a goal to win the Big 12 championship, and a dream to win the national championship. But you got to take care of your goals before you can get to your dreams.
Coach, I know that you don't like to talk about style points, but at the same time, your defense is scoring points with some style. Can you just talk about what they've been able to do?
Yes, it's unusual to have a defense that scores like our defense is scoring, and it's fun, it's exciting, and especially when you can get somebody one-dimensional. And when Oklahoma State got behind the other night, they had to start throwing it, and that's not who they are. They would rather run the ball and have play action. They're not a drop-back passing team. And the other thing that happens in this situation, your defensive backs get so much credit because we can play man coverage, and they should. But until the quarterback gets rattled and starts throwing balls that you can intercept, you have nothing. So much of this credit should be going to Lamar Houston and Ben Alexander and Keyston Randall and Sam Acho, and you start looking at Sergio for putting pressure on those quarterbacks, because we've had pressure each week on the quarterback, and that gives us a chance for interceptions. And we're getting quite a bit of pressure now without having to blitz very much, and I think that's a positive as well.
What do you think that says to the rest of the nation and your opponents when they have to be as concerned about not just the turnover but the conversion of it as well?
We've sent a message right now to teams that we can score in all three phases, and that's something that I think would make people more conservative. What Central Florida will do is they will try to run the ball and hit some play-action passes like they did last night and try to throw it deep some, but they'll try to keep the ball, and that's what we knew Oklahoma State was going to try to do. We had only one drive the first quarter, so that's why turnovers are so key to us, and when our offense gets on the field, they need to score like they did the other night.
Coach, you've been talking about just enjoying the ride, everybody enjoying the ride. Do you feel like you guys are having fun and enjoying the ride, or
I do. I thought after Oklahoma, our guys said, you know, we're getting better here. We're pretty good, and now we need to continue to play good. But I just watching them over the last 2 weeks on the road, I think they've had a blast. They walked into Missouri and played really well, and they walked into Stillwater on Saturday night and played really well. They didn't look uptight to me. They looked excited. They're having fun with each other. That was the largest crowd in the history of Missouri football. It's the largest crowd in the history of Oklahoma State football, and I think they take it as a compliment and a challenge. They love that on the road, and I like that about them.
Is it an unusual situation to come through a game, get done, have your team meeting, then you go home on a Sunday night and watch the team live and you're going to play the next week?
It is unusual, and their stats weren't in today. We don't have their depth chart. We don't have a media guide, so it kind of slows things down for us this week. But we had a pretty good scouting report last night, and that's the way they went. They looked like they were in trouble, but they hang in there. They hang in there, and George has been around a long time. He was a defensive coordinator in the NFL at a lot of different places, and that's the way they're going to beat you. So you can't let them hang around.
Mack, you've had a lot of great defense in your 12 years here, but Earl Thomas seems to be head and shoulders above the rest of them.
Earl is making a lot of plays, excuse me, and he's got tremendous instincts. We've seen him do it in our practices time and time again. But you have to remember, when you look at a system, again, without that pass rush, Earl wouldn't have the opportunities to make the plays he's making. And Earl's just such a great football player. He's tough, and he likes to play in the special teams. And he's a guy that we can't get off the field. I thought he'd sprained his ankle when he and Aaron Williams ran together, and he looked over and we said, come on out, and he turned back. He wouldn't even look at us, and then we started to call timeout and didn't. But he just loves to play, but he's got tremendous instincts, and I do think he looks like a guy that can return punts too. So next year he'll probably take Jordan's place as a punt returner, he and Curtis Brown.
In some ways, does he seem like he plays older than he really is?
He does. He did that from the day he's got here. He's very serious. He's very bright. It was funny, after we ate as a team last night, I'm walking out, and he's playing music on the piano. And he's really, really talented. He plays in his church every Sunday morning. So he's just a talented young man. You wouldn't think that either. And I said, can you sing? And he said, no, I play. So that's about all you get out of Earl.
So speaking of the position, was there a little redemption for those guys? The way some of the plays went late in the Tech game last year, to see 2 pick sixes by those guys, and to see Blake get an interception as well, did they want it a little more because of that?
I don't know that if they wanted it anymore, but I told them that we can put that to rest now. That in fact, the kids were giving Blake a real hard time. He said, you didn't even score on yours. The other 2 took them back for touchdowns. But I do think it was fitting that the 3 guys that were kind of fingered out last year at the end of the Tech game all made super plays on the road in a big game against a ranked team to help us win.
You said last week that after this game, if y'all win, you'd have to be telling their team they're not as good as we're all saying that they are. Do you see that happening already?
Well, we do not want to ever tell them they're not good. But what we also want to do, so many people do not give opponents respect, and I think that's an awful thing about college football fans and media when they talk bad about another team. This team's 5-3, and what our team needs to do is a lot of what we do is based on respect. It's respect for your coaches, respect for your parents, respect for your teammates, and respect for your opponents. And in life, every business person today that's out there that is laughing at their opponent, their competition, is about to get beat, and we're not going to let it happen at all. So I've told them if that's what's out there, don't listen to it, because Central Florida's hearing it too, and they're going to come in here, this is the biggest game of their lives. They're going to come in here excited about 101,000, and we need our fans excited. And what we wanted is to have a chance to be in the mix at the top every year in the country. We've got that, and we're not going to let it slip.
Is there also a mindset, Mack? Fortunately for you, this program isn't on the other end where they can stroll into a stadium with nothing to lose. Central Florida can stroll in here with nothing to lose and say, let's see if we can win that one.
Absolutely nothing to lose. This isn't even a conference game for them. It's a game they're supposed to lose. For us, we lose so many things if we don't play well and if we don't win. So there's absolutely no doubt the pressure's on us and it's off them.
Aren't you glad you're not involved in the mess, the confusion that is the Big 12 North?
I'm glad I'm not involved with tiebreakers right now or BCS. We're just who we are. That's what I tried really hard to understand it all last year, and I came out more confused than I went in. So as long as we can stay in the top 3 in the BCS, we're in good shape, and that's where we want to be. We're not worried about anything except us, and that was a big step Saturday. We went through everything yesterday with the team to show them exactly who we play the next 4 weeks, to show where they are, what it means, and I think they understood it. And then we said, now let's go back to work. But like I said, there were 5 or 6 players that I said I asked for opinions, and 5 or 6, starting with Sergio and Colt, stood up and raised their hand and said, this is exactly where it is. If we play well, we got a chance. If we don't play well, what those people are saying each week about our opponents and our chance to be here and be there goes down the drain. So one of the things you have to be a great team is mental discipline, and we're going to have that this week. Okay. But the guys are excited about being back home too. Shoot, they hadn't seen our stadium in forever. I walked in yesterday and said, wow, this is a pretty place. I'm glad we're back.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, folks. Have a good week.